Patchwork Heart Ministry and Fiat Ministry Network invite you to discover your mission. A brand new in-depth monthly video series featuring engaging Catholic speakers who will challenge you to live your life abundantly. For only $25 a month, you will receive a personal monthly mission, including 3 full-length inspirational talks that build upon a new theme each month. Sign up for the Discover Your Mission tier at patreon.com/Patchwork Heart Ministry today.
Welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. This is a show all about implanting hope in our hearts. I'm Bill Snyder, joined by my friend Ann DeSantis. We're glad you're here for our uplifting conversation about faith and how it sustains our hearts through all the seasons of life. Thanks for walking with us. And good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. I am Bill Snyder, and as always, I am joined by my friend Ann DeSantis. It is just an absolute joy to be here on this sunny morning with each and every one of you. Good morning, Ann. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Bill. It's great to be here, too.
It really is. It's really great. It's a nice, beautiful day out here in Wisconsin. How is it in Philadelphia?
Sunny, and I love it. I'm looking at the sun come in into the window through the shades and just enjoying this morning.
Yeah, it is. It is a nice morning, and I'm excited to be here with all our listeners. And yeah, it's hard to believe this is episode number 35 of Sowing Hope, isn't it? It's just wild.
It is. And it all started in a way that we both were surprised by, because I thought maybe we could discuss that interesting story about how we began this journey with Sowing Hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Bill, you had an event happen in your life that opened things up, where you had a little bit of time to do an extra podcast.
Yeah. The Holy Spirit really plans things better than anybody can plan, and so we had done a podcast for Young Catholics Respond on Patchwork Heart Radio. We had you and I had done one maybe a month prior, and we had just stayed in contact, which is pretty a normal thing, pretty much. People will sometimes stay in contact with you and whatnot. Hey, and it was really great. We had talked on the phone a few times, and you had expressed some interest in doing more in another podcast with me, and I was an Uber driver at the time. I still am an Uber driver, I guess, on the side, but I haven't driven during the COVID-19 pandemic because it's not safe to have people in my car, with all the disease and everything. But so I was driving at the time, and I was kind of talking to you as I was driving around Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. But it worked out that it ended up happening that I got in a car accident. It wasn't anything major, but my car was sidelined for several weeks because it needed to be repaired. And so I was like, well, I can't work. I have to wait for, I can't drive Uber, so I have to wait for this, car to get fixed. And so I texted you back and I said, Ann, I think that the Holy Spirit's opened a window up for me to be able to do this podcast. And I said, I don't know how long that's going to last me. My car is going to get fixed. And lo and behold, the car got fixed. I drove one day. And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit. So here we are. Here we are.
That's right.
On this radio program for 35 straight episodes. Mm-hmm. And what a beautiful thing it has been.
It is. It's been such a blessing, because we started out, and if our listeners would like to go back and listen to some of the earlier podcasts, we had topics for the first, 5 or 6 shows, because we didn't start out with hosting guests. We had a list of different topics. One of them was forgiveness. I know we had a couple on bullying. We had one on serving the poor. So then we started to get into, hey, maybe we should host guests as well. And that has been such a blessing. We've had so many wonderful authors and speakers and musicians, and just people who are doing wonderful things in the world. So,
Yeah.
but today, today we had an opportunity to do a show, just the two of us again, and it's called Ministry Updates. And we decided that we could talk about some of the collaborative efforts that are happening between three nonprofits. So those nonprofits are Patchwork Heart Ministry, that's Bill Snyder's nonprofit, and also Fiat Ministry Network, which you can find on Facebook and YouTube. That's Kent Kalhosky. Hello, Kent. And myself with the St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. And I'm working with the Mercedarian Religious Order. And so we're coming together, that these three church ministry groups, to try to join forces to help as many people as we can, because sowing hope is all about, as it says at the beginning in the commercial, sowing hope into broken hearts. And I think that's the mission for all of us.
That's right. And one of the things, Ann, that I think is so insightful when we talk about building this ministry up, and this ministry that's been kind of growing, is really how the Holy Spirit has led it. I was messaging somebody on Instagram the other day. I sent them a promotional video that we did for the Discover Your Mission series, and they said, "Wow, this looks great." And I said, "Well, it's totally Spirit-led." I said, I could take very little credit for any of this stuff, because it's all Spirit-led. And when we did it like that, it really has been, the Holy Spirit has said, okay, well, you know what, we're going to try doing a conference, and then we're going to try doing, a bunch of things, and the Holy Spirit, it just has kept the, I don't know, it's kept together for so long now that, I mean, certainly lifetime friendships have been formed, in this whole process, between Kent, you, and myself. I mean, we've been working so closely, and these organizations have been working so closely and partnering so closely, that it's just a great joy to be able to say we're doing the Lord's work at this time, and we're doing it, with hope that this will continue for a very long time, and we're going to be able to do things as life slowly gets back to normal, do some in-person events and do some different things with that. But we're really excited about the future here. At least I am. I know you are.
Yeah, I am too. And I believe that Kent is as well. And we also thank our friend Jennifer, right? Jennifer Sinclair, who's also on board with helping Kent with all of the wonderful work that he's doing with Fiat Ministry Network. So it's all very exciting. But Bill and I were just talking yesterday. It's not exciting in the fact of our own success. What's exciting is, and Bill and I, we prayed about this the other day, is those people that need hope, hope in the Lord. And that's what we can provide through these three ministries, is bringing that peace, joy, love, and also hope, which is the key element, really.
It is. Hope is the thing that's keeping everything afloat right now, really. Because
that's right.
Because there's not much, right, Ann? There's not much going on in the world.
That's right. Yeah, we're still pretty much home for the most part, most of us. And I mean, I've been working from home, and there's blessings that come there, I think, for all of us, because we've learned how to work together at home. I mean, I know that in my family, my husband and I and my two daughters, and we've all been working from home, aside from my oldest daughter, who is now a director of religious education for a local church not too far from me. And she has been going into work, but it's all gradual, I think, for all of us. It's just gradually getting back to normal, getting back to Mass, right? I mean, I got back to Mass a couple weeks ago, which was so wonderful to receive the Eucharist.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be helping my pastor and my parish with some of the live streams of the Masses. So when you're at during the live stream, you're in the building, I mean, there's like, you and the priest and maybe, a musician, and that's it. Right. But it's been a blessing, to be able to have a, be in the building for some of these masses. I know this weekend is our first weekend back at our church. It's reopening for the first time for public masses, but it's still going to be very carefully. I want to say very carefully, monitored. I mean, there's only a limited number of seats. It's going to be well spaced. So there's just some caution, but it is a great blessing to be able to go back to Mass and be in the building for Mass. It's like, oh my gosh, what a grace, what a grace, what a beautiful thing. So I'm very excited about the return, but I'm also excited about the future of how we see this developing and growing and moving forward for our listeners, because I just think this is so good.
It really is very, very good. And as you said, it is Holy Spirit driven. I know I was praying for a while about connecting with some other nonprofits and building some friendships. So God has certainly done that in great ways, And we've had a lot of the Mercedarian friars have been guests as well on this program. And they're the ones who are part of the foundation that I'm the director for. So we thank the Mercedarian friars, and they've been priests that have done masses also on Fiat Ministry Network. So that's also a big blessing that there's a connection there that offer those masses online.
Oh, yeah.
As we're going back to normal, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I know my pastor said that there is no reason to ever stop live streaming Mass again. And, he wants this to be a ministry in the parish going forward. Like, he's told us straight up that this will be a mission of St. Francis of Assisi Parish in Milwaukee. Like, this is what we're going to be doing. And, we're developing a calendar and and everything so that, we can live stream these masses.
It's important, I think, because, as also people who are sick and elderly, and also life circumstances that come up that, will stop them. Obviously we know Mass is an obligation for us, but sometimes with this sickness that's happened, there is saying that, hey, if you feel sick, don't come to Mass.
Right.
So it's good to have it live streamed is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I'm wondering, how you bring up a really good point. You're wondering how that's going to change. Of course, obligation to attend Mass in person. I do want to make sure everybody understands that, attending Mass online does not fulfill a Sunday obligation. That is, but the obligation has been lifted in most
That's right.
dioceses, so you don't have to attend. It does not fulfill your Sunday obligation or an obligation to attend Mass, but it is a wonderful spiritual thing to do so that you can grow in faith and still get the benefits of the Mass, but it doesn't necessarily fulfill that obligation to go. But there's outstanding things that that end up happening in life anyway, where you have a sickness, or you have some type of illness in life, where you're prevented from going. You're caretaking with somebody in the home. There are ordinary circumstances that prevent you from being able to attend Mass that are regular. They're extraordinary. So being able to podcast Mass, if you're a live-in caretaker for somebody or something like that, is now a blessing. Where you're unable to get to Mass for a legitimate reason going forward. It's a huge blessing. So thanks to the Mercedarian friars for their continual witness. I think that's going to continue as part of their mission. If we know anything about Father Matthew, he's certainly a techie, so he won't have any problem getting that off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it is a wonderful blessing, and we've had such great guests on this show, and we thank all of them, and we have more to come. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we have a full calendar of great people almost for the entire summer, just because people are so interested in this program. So
Yeah.
please join us. We are every single Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern, and every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And of course, you can listen after the fact. A lot of you are listening to this podcast, not live or anything like that. But it's just good to know that we're here twice a week, and it's always a great time.
That's right.
Not just a great time. It's always great to see you, Bill, right?
Yes,
It's always
it is
great to spend time together. But I just mean it's always great too, because we're ministering to people through these wonderful guests that we have.
Yeah.
So, hey, and if you're listening and you know someone, a friend of yours who maybe they are involved in some kind of ministry or an author, reach out to us, because we love to find out about people who are doing great things to make the world a better place. Like,
Yes.
as I said, a lot of authors and speakers. So if so, then please email us at sowinghope@patchworkheart.org.
Yeah,
And you can
exactly.
get in touch with us about that.
Yep. And that's it's such a great thing to be able to just have the guests we've had, and we would love it if you would reach out and let us know who else you'd love to have on the program. We're certainly growing in that regard, but the interest, as you mentioned, has been so profound. It's such an amazing thing. To see the response that we're getting from not only guests, but also not only guests, but also our listeners. So please reach out to us. And if you have prayer requests and stuff like that, we're happy to pray with you. We're happy to talk with you off the air. Like, this is a ministry, so remember that I always say radio is a public conversation. That's what I say about
Yes.
radio. It's a public conversation, but know that we are having a lot of private ones too. And so if you have a need, if you have something that we can help you with in your ministry going forward, I know there's going to be a lot of needs going forward in the world. Spiritual needs. We're dealing with a lot of fallout from the coronavirus. We're dealing with a series and string of violence in our society that really is unprecedented. And some of it's justified in not the violence part of it, but the awareness for all lives to matter is certainly a legitimate thing to be striving for, in equality of all people. That's part of our Catholic social teaching. Like, that's part of
Yes,
what
amen.
God wants us to do. But I want to say that those needs that you might have, we're here to help with them, and spiritual needs for your parishes. We have a lot of different resources at Patchwork Heart Ministry. Anne has a ton of resources for the St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation, through podcasts and other outreaches of her ministry. And same thing with Fiat Ministry Network too. I mean, Fiat Ministry Network produces so many different TV shows. There's daily live stream masses. I mean, there's so many good things going on. Reach out to us for resources. We'd love to even come out to your parishes, do a speaking thing, or talk with you as those events get restarted. And going again. People are going to be hungry. We know people are just going to be plain old hungry, for some spiritual food. So we're happy to help in those regards too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned a couple things there. Not only have we been going through this pandemic, but there's been another crisis in this country with the what happened with George Floyd, and then the aftermath of that too. And of course, the peaceful demonstrations are a good thing, but I emphasize the word peaceful, right?
Yes.
So, but it seems to me that there's so much hope coming our way as we are coming out of this pandemic. I do believe that God is more powerful than any other force, as much as there is an evil force in this world. But He is more powerful. Love is the most powerful force, and God is love. So we have nothing to fear when we know that we have God by our side.
Amen.
Yes. And with that, Bill, now I know that you are working on something very special with Kent, and it's called Discover Your Mission. I thought you could talk about that with us. It's really an amazing program that you're offering.
Yeah, really, again, another blessing of this whole thing has been to be able to develop a series that takes the parish mission, and synthesizes it down for the individual viewer. We missed a lot of parish missions during Lent because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And one of those things that we decided to do was bring the parish missions to the person, right? And so that's really what Discover Your Mission is all about. We call it a personal mission because it's an ability to just connect with these speakers on a personal level, where they're sharing their story, their inspirational story of faith with you, and lightly teaching some of the truths of the faith, but not jamming it down your throat, right? And this is really what the parish mission is all about, right? It's an uplifting time. It's to celebrate the faith. It's not necessarily something that is to be a catechetical tool. And so you may be familiar with things like Formed or the Word on Fire catechetical programs that are out there that are great teaching programs. I mean, Bishop Robert Barron is amazing. All the people at Formed are incredible. Their videos are amazing. But the one thing that separates us from that is the fact that this is, personalized parish mission that is inspirational in nature. It's not seeking to teach you stuff first. It's trying to uplift you in your faith first. And of course, there's going to be teaching elements in there because that's just part of our faith. But the idea is that what we are doing is we are uplifting you first, and then teaching. So how do you get a hold of this? Well, it's only available through our Patreon. And we worked with Kent Kuhry to produce this series, and it's a monthly series. Unlike a parish mission that maybe happens once a year at your parish, this is going to be something that's going to be able to happen for you once a month. And what we do is we film 3 days or 3 separate videos of a parish mission that's delivered to you once a month. So typically, like this month, actually this week, at the end of this week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Father's Day weekend, Ray Haywood is going to be doing, who's actually our guest on Thursday night to talk about this in depth. But it's actually going to be his series. And he's going to be talking about fatherhood, obviously. Last month, we had a whole thing on Mary. We had a whole thing on the Blessed Virgin Mary. And then we're also going to have, and then I did one which was kind of on during the Lenten season, or kind of the tail end of the Lenten season, called Running to the Heart of the Father. So there's also that particular mission, and all of them are going to be available, but each month we add to it. So you can access mine, you can access Kendra's, which was the Blessed Virgin Mary. Mary, I forget the name of the title, but it was all about the Blessed Virgin Mary. And then this one will be all about fatherhood with Ray, and you'll get access to all 3 of those and any future ones when you subscribe. It's $25 a month, and which we think is an incredible value for what we're producing. And we're hoping to be able to eventually create study guides for each of these as life returns to normal and you're headed back to your parishes. We know that a lot of people use these in adult formation. Some of them might even be relevant for youth formation. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and create some study guides, so that when you go back to your groups, you can watch these and then talk about them. And they're just half-hour long videos. Some of them might be a little bit longer, but roughly about a half hour. Which is really about what you would get at a parish mission. Like you'd get maybe some prayer experiences and some other things in about a half hour long talk each night, or an hour long talk each night with some other different worship elements in there. So we're kind of building it around that, and really excited to be able to bring to you guys that. So I know, Ann, you're going to do a series too. I know you're planning on doing a series as part of this as well. So that's going to be exciting too.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And I'm going to be working on that this summer. So it'll be 3 half-hour segments. I will admit I don't have them planned out yet, what we're going to be discussing. But as you know from listening to this program, is I'm the director for a foundation that is all about helping families in crisis. So I know that it'll have something to do with that.
Yeah,
So
of course.
listeners, pray for me as I develop this video series and audio series as well that Bill will be creating. And so I'm very happy and grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, it really is going to be just very, very fun to do, and I think you're going to find it very fun if you subscribe. The other thing to kind of put bluntly out there for each and every one of you is to know that when you're listening to programs like Sowing Hope, like Ann's brand new TV show, Journeys in Faith, like Fiat Ministry Network's beautiful show called Hungry for More with Al Smith, or any of these programs that we are producing, these take a significant amount of our time. They take a significant amount of our preparation. We don't just show up and turn on this stuff. There are equipment costs. There are software costs. I mean, these things, do cost money, folks. And the good news is that each and every one of our ministries are a 501c3 nonprofit. So if you're listening to this, this is not like a super hard plug for me to, shake you down for money. But just keep that in mind. We know things are really tough out there. For society right now, very high unemployment rates in our society. But as things come back to normal, please consider those things that you've listened to and you relied on. If this program is one of them, to support them, because it's hard to continue doing these things on shoestring budgets. We want to be able to grow. We want to be able to continue to provide really good, high quality programming. Which is what we do. I mean, this is what we do. Kent and I are very skilled at it. Ann has been a TV host for many, many years. This is in our blood. It's in our DNA. In order to do these things, we're skilled and trained at doing them. So just think about that in perspective, and put it in perspective as you return back to your jobs, in a couple of months, as you get things back to normal, as your income levels come back up. Just keep in mind our three ministries and how you can support us. Again, these are tax deductible organizations, so you do get a tax deduction for donating to our ministries. And it's just crucial to keep them going. It's crucial to keep them, going, so that we can provide this ministry to each and every one of you out there listening. And I just put that out there for folks.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And it's not an easy thing what you just did, Bill, because I know that you would do this for absolutely nothing, and so would Kent, and even the foundation if we could, right? But we do have to ask people in a humble way to support all of us. So again, I'll just mention those three ministries. And I know we do have to take a break in a minute or two. Remember that Bill Snyder's ministry is Patchwork Heart Ministry, where you can find him on all the social media platforms, and especially on YouTube, because that's where all of the programs are. The playlists are all there. But you can go to patchworkheart.org to make those donations. The other one is Fiat Ministry Network. Please go to Facebook and like that page. as well as I believe they do have a website too, which you can Google. I'm pretty sure it might be Fiat Ministry, maybe .net.
Yeah, fiatministrynetwork.tv.
.tv.
Yep.
Okay. And then St. Raymond Donatus Foundation is nonatus.org. So we'll be right back.
Yes, we'll be right back right after these messages. Thanks so much, folks, for tuning in today to Sowing Hope. Patchwork Heart Ministry and Fiat Ministry Network present Hear Your Faith, a brand new audio subscription service that features a growing collection of uplifting Catholic audio choruses, talks, and other exclusive content to help you grow deeper in your faith and knowledge of Catholicism. Subscribe today at patreon.com/patchworkheartministry.
Patchwork Heart Ministry and Fiat Ministry Network invite you to discover your mission. A brand new in-depth monthly video series featuring engaging Catholic speakers who will challenge you to live your life abundantly. For only $25 a month, you will receive a personal monthly mission, including 3 full-length inspirational talks that build upon a new theme each month. Sign up for the Discover Your Mission tier at patreon.com/patchworkheartministry today. Patchwork Heart Ministry is committed to sowing hope into broken hearts by helping young people encounter the love of Jesus Christ and His Catholic Church through prayer, storytelling, and media initiatives. We invite you to prayerfully consider supporting this mission financially. Mail your tax-deductible donation to Patchwork Heart Ministry at P.O. Box 563, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, zip code 53147, or visit patchworkheart.org to donate online. That's Patchwork Heart Ministry, P.O. Box 563, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin 53147, or online at patchworkheart.org.
And welcome back here to Sowing Hope, everybody. I am Bill Snyder, as always, joined by my co-host and friend, Ann DeSantis. Today we are talking about some ministry updates on today's program. We don't have a guest, which is just fine. It's actually the way we began the show. When we started out, we were just talking about different topics and things like that. So we welcome you into our discussion today, and thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of our ministry. So yeah, this is a good show today.
It is. It brings back memories of those early shows, and I think we should do this every so often. Just kind of come together and talk about these ministry updates. And as we said right before the break, is that we have 3 nonprofits that have come together prayerfully through the Holy Spirit and through His guidance to work together to reach people who are in crisis, reach people to educate them about their faith, and reach them to give them hope, because the Sowing Hope podcast, our tagline is sowing hope into broken hearts. And aren't there so many of those out there, whether they're people of faith or people who are away from their faith? A lot of us still need hope. We need the Lord. And that's what this show is about. It's a very human show. We are a combination of good catechesis, but we have combined that with a real human element of letting you all know that we personally care about you. We are not one of those ministries that if you email us that you will hear back from some other person. You will basically be hearing back from either Bill or I or Kent, the 3 people who are, running these ministries. You will get that email back directly from us. We will communicate with you. So that's the human part of who we are. We don't have extra, people kind of working for us at this point. We're working together, which is such a blessing.
Oh, yeah.
And we also thank our friend Jennifer Sinclair, who's also helping out with the Fiat Ministry Network.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you all. And please email us at sowinghope@patchworkheart.org if you have any comments or ideas for guests. As I mentioned before, we interview people who are doing great things to help to make the world a better place. We have had wonderful Catholics who have been guests on the show, and we've had people of other faiths too. So we also invite them, um, people who are just basically bringing the message of hope and of love and of the Lord to our world.
Amen. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that does separate out a lot of our ministries from the some of the larger Catholic umbrella. You know, when you talk about what do you specialize in, what do you think about, Kent's tagline for the ministry of Fiat Ministry Network is encouraging all to say yes to Jesus Christ. We are very simple, sowing hope into broken hearts, and those two things align so nicely. Like we are trying to get out the word to everybody. That is not just a exclusive group of people. It's not just an exclusive group of Catholics. Now, we are upfront that we are Catholic. We are upfront about the truth of the Catholic faith. We're not going to sacrifice or water down what we believe because of our society or whatever. But we are reaching souls, and we are trying to hit everybody, not just a small minute section of very faithful Catholics. We're looking at the broader umbrella of the Catholic Church and trying to minister to everyone. So that does include dialogue with people of different faiths, people of Christianity. I remember when we first launched this program, we had people listening to us from India who were not even Christian. So we were very surprised at that. At least I was. I was like,
too.
wow. Okay, well, we're going to have to make sure that we minister in a way that is charitable and kind and within the truth of the church. But so I think that is a beautiful thing that separates us. I know we talk about that all the time off the air, and how much these three ministries are open to everybody. I mean, the Mercedarians, when you go back and listen to that story, Father Daniel Bowen talked about the whole history of the Mercedarian order. So if you missed that episode, go back in our podcast archives and listen to the one with Father Daniel Bowen, because he was fascinating and phenomenal in talking about, okay, how do we rescue the broken from slavery, and what that mission really is, and offering one's life as a ransom. I mean, these things are universal human perspectives. So just beautiful stuff.
It really is. Thank you so much for all that you just shared with us. And I will just mention that the little tagline right now, I say right now because it could possibly be altered, for the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation is spiritual accompaniment for families in crisis. So that is what we're offering, is something different. There's a lot of other nonprofits similar to us that maybe have doctors on the board that are doing writing books and doing a lot of research and trying to catechize, which we do catechize. But our specialty at this point in time is that spiritual accompaniment through our outreach, our individual outreach. We offer personal appointments for spiritual direction with a Mercedarian friar. We offer the twice a month podcasts, which are, one is for families in crisis on the last Thursday of every month at 8:00. And the other one is the first Tuesday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern for those affected by divorce and separation. And then throughout the month, we hear from our clients and try to bring that healing to them through these appointments that we do, through the catechesis, through what we have to offer on our website, and just that individual outreach. So,
Yeah.
Bill, thanks for giving me this opportunity to share.
Oh, of course. I think one of the biggest things is that we have to share what we are doing with our ministries, and we have to be able to have opportunities to talk about it in a candid way, because we are doing so much good, out there in the world, and through these different ministries, and many people often don't know about them and what they're doing. So, or what we're doing, and so we come on the air for an hour and we have a great conversation, and that's what they think we do for the remainder of our day. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like okay, I'm done working for today. I've had an hour long conversation with a wonderful guest. But no, there's so much behind the scenes that we're working on and constantly doing to build this up and create this, that we just want you to be part of it. The other thing is too, if you want to help us, we can use your help. That's the other thing. We have a lot of plans to grow ministry, in the future, and we need help. So if you are, maybe you're finding yourself out of work right now, you're a little bored, you're, a young adult or even an older adult, we can take your help. Working, if you have, especially if you have a certain skill set, we're always happy to do that. We, as we need volunteers to help our ministries, as all nonprofits do. So we're happy to offer you, help with us to share social media posts, to help us coordinate guests. I mean, there's so many different things that we can use help with, right? To help keeping this ministry going. We talk about the gift of treasure a little bit earlier, but time and talent is as equal to those. So we truly believe that, and in the Catholic Church we hear those words ad nauseum sometimes from our from our parish directors, right? That say time, talent, and treasure. Time, talent, and treasure. But it's very true. I mean, there is some true aspect to that. So I know that we can use your help as volunteers, to help us grow our ministry, and it always looks nice on a resume when you're able to say, what did you do with your time off or furlough time? Well, I helped 3 nonprofits grow their ministry. We will be happy to give you all recommendations or whatever for, if you do good work for us, we'll be happy to give you good recommendations for, when you go back to your job or a different job or whatever it is. So just think about that. And again, it's real simple to email us. It's sowinghope@patchworkheart.org, and let us know that you heard it on the program, and we'll be say I've got a skill set, the Holy Spirit's kind of tugging at me to maybe help you with something. What do you need help with? And we can I'm pretty sure we can find something for you to do, right, Ann?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Hey, that was great that you mentioned that, because, when you're a director for a nonprofit, or you are running your own nonprofit, a lot of times the person who is either the director or the CEO, whoever it is, a lot of times they're the ones that doing most of the work. And it is challenging at times. So when you have other people that can help out in some small way, it is just such a blessing. So thanks for mentioning that. Something else just occurred to me too, is another way that you can help us, and this is a really simple way, is that sharing our social media posts costs nothing. But if you share that on your timeline, or share it to some other Facebook group or Instagram, whatever, that is probably one of the biggest things that you can do that costs nothing. So if you see this on social media, I would just invite you to let your friends all know about it. Invite them to the Sowing Hope podcast Facebook page. There is like a little invite button too. If you kind of scroll down, there's the ability to actually invite your friends to like the page. So that would be a simple way. I will also mention that Sowing Hope podcast, which is spelled SEWING. So just to make sure,
That's
I know
right.
there's a couple spellings of sewing. We are on a lot of the social media platforms. So we're on Facebook, we are on Instagram, Twitter, and we are also on LinkedIn. So become friends with Sowing Hope podcast.
And Ann does an amazing job at posting to each and every one of them. I know occasionally I do post up to those sites as well. Mainly Facebook, because I'm not so sure. I'm in Twitter too, but I'm not a big Instagrammer. But I know that that's a platform out there. So Ann does an amazing job to keep us relevant on all the social media platforms out there, folks. So please support us if you can. by just sharing the post. And I always say share, don't like. I mean, like and share if you want, but share is so much more important because from the way these algorithms work, when you start doing the research and all that stuff and looking into that, I will tell you that the sharing sends it to all of your friends. It takes it and shares it to your friends, and the liking does not do that. The like, might send it to us that says, okay, this person liked it. Well, that's nice. But when you share it and you hit that share button, and like even if you're listening right now on YouTube, even after the fact, you're listening on YouTube and you hit the share button below, it will enable you to share that post on your social media, which then sends it to your Facebook sites. It sends it to your YouTube accounts. It sends it to your Twitter, and that enables people to then log in and see it, a wider audience, right? Like, so if everybody that's listening out there shares it one time, it's going to, and then one of those people that share it the next time, it just keeps multiplying the number of listeners that we get and the number of people that get to hear the gospel message, to hear these great Catholic authors and speakers. I mean, that's the other big thing, right, Ann? Like, I mean, we get the opportunity to talk with these amazing Catholic speakers, and I often joke the only reason why these people want to talk to me is because I have a radio show or I have a podcast, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise I'm just a regular Catholic Joe that goes to Mass and I'm an Uber driver. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way it is. The only reason why these people want to talk to us is because we have, we might be nice people, but we also have a platform for them to get their stuff out. So that's a large piece of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And thanks for bringing that up. Now, I have a couple other things I just want to mention. Another way that you can possibly help us, if you would, is, and this is a simple way, and we would be happy to send you, is if you are a member of a church somewhere, a parish, putting it in your church bulletin or your church website would be any of our ministries or even just the Sowing Hope podcast. Email us and let me know, because we will send you a little blurb and something that you can put on your website, which is, again, sowinghope@patchworkheart.org. Just send us that. We will send back to you the website, any like little graphics that we can send if it is going to go on your own parish website. If you have your own website, hey, we would love it if you would put our information on your website. That would be so huge to let people know about this ministry. For any three of these ministries. So we have, again, Patchwork Heart, that's Bill Snyder, Fiat Ministry Network, which is Kent Kohosky, and also myself for St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation and DeSantis. So if you can put those links on your website, boy, would we be thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, again, the other thing too is I just want to stress that this is really about the Lord too. Like, this is about the Lord. The first motive here in our discussion about sharing this stuff is evangelization. It's not about
absolutely.
It's not about we are all rooted in knowing that we are not going to. This is not about money. It's not to make us rich. It's not like we're all very rooted in that. We know that the three of us full well know, working for nonprofits, that and starting them and founding them, for Kent and myself, we're not seeking to get rich. This is not a seeking to get rich kind of scheme. What it is evangelization, and we know that there are so many people out there that are hungry for the gospel, that are turning to alternative media like podcasts, like internet television, to get the gospel, because it's not being preached on traditional media. It's not being preached on in the public square anymore as it used to be. So where do we get it? We have to turn to alternative media. This here is what they would call, I think it's becoming more and more mainstream now, but it's what is called alternative media, podcasting, internet television like YouTube. These things are alternative media, but they are reaching hearts and souls, and we know they are reaching hearts and souls because we get emails back that say, great show. We get emails back that say, man, this was wonderful. It was a blessing for my ministry. So we know it's reaching people, and we need the support from you to stick it on the website, to share it on social media. And I tell people that I love close to me all the time. Whether it's with my parents or my wife. It only takes 5 seconds while you're scrolling through your Facebook feed at the end of a day, or you're killing some time waiting at a doctor's office, or you're whatever you're doing with your social media time. When you see this stuff, share it. And if we of course want you to listen, but we hope that we're a trusted brand as well. That when you see it, okay, maybe you haven't listened to the entire show, but you've listened to 7 out of 8 episodes. Well, chances are the 8th one's probably going to be pretty good, so maybe you'll share that one too. You know what I mean? Just think of us like that too. If you haven't listened to the whole thing and you can't get to it right now, but you see it pop up on your social media feed, and you've liked and listened to a lot of the other programs, hit that share button anyway. You know what I mean? Hit the share button anyway and go back and listen to it later at night, So
That's great, Bill. Thank you for saying that, because it's a wonderful point to bring up, that a lot of people are short of money these days. I mean, all of us have gone through trial during this pandemic, but Bill gave a simple way that you can help us out, is just to share the work that we're doing. I would say especially, like, Facebook is wonderful, but even share us on Twitter would be wonderful, just to retweet if you can be friends with us. Now I'm going to give you several different places on Twitter that you can find us. So there is Patchwork Heart Ministry has one. I have my own personal Twitter, Ann DeSantis, DeSantis. Also, Sowing Hope Podcast, Fiat Ministry Network. And also, now I want to mention there's a new show too called Journeys in Faith with Ann DeSantis. It's on Friday nights at 8:30 Eastern Time on Fiat Ministry Network. It is a live show. We have wonderful guests every single week. And it's also a podcast on Patchwork Heart Ministry. And you can find that on Podbean and on TuneIn. So liking these pages and also becoming friends with them on social media. And there's also a Journeys in Faith with Ann DeSantis Twitter. So be friends there too, and share if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so good. Just like us, share us. I mean, that's the big thing. Like and share. Again, this is not money driven at all. We're not seeking to get rich here, folks. We just want to be able to have you help us evangelize the gospel. So I really appreciate all the listeners that have tuned in. I appreciate all the guests. I mean, we've had such amazing guests, and tune in to Ray this Thursday night when we have Ray on. That's going to be a great show. He has a book out, by the way. It's wonderful for Father's Day. I'm just going to give him a quick plug, because if you order it today, probably be there by Father's Day. I don't know if you order it by Thursday, it'll get there in time. But it's called Tools to Ready the Journey: A Father's Guide to a Faith-Filled Family. I actually did an entire podcast series with him, a 15-part podcast series on Breadbox Media, discussing the book and doing a study guide with him, an audio study guide to the book with him. So it is an amazing book for fathers, and it actually helps train fathers to become holy men and lead their families with conviction of faith. And so I really encourage you. I've read the entire book myself because I've done the whole book study, but it is unbelievable. It's not very often you get calls from authors that say, "Hey, will you read a book and do an entire book study with me?" And I was so blessed to be able to do that with Ray, and the fact that it's available on Breadbox Media. That's the other network that I partner with for Young Catholics Respond, and that website is just breadboxmedia.com. If you head over to their website, you'll find it down in the series section under Tools to Ready the Journey. And get a copy of the book and give it to your dad, give it to your son who has children, give it to somebody who's expecting to have children, and it will really form you as a man to be a person of faith, and to kind of, as Ray always puts it, I'm sure you're going to hear it on Thursday night, scratch at the these topics so that you can become a better and holier person. So just a tip for Father's Day this week to maybe reach out. His website is trjfathersguide.com. So if you head over to trjfathersguide.com, you'll be able to purchase the book. I believe it's on Amazon too. So if you can take advantage of your Prime shipping and get it there by Father's Day, you can do that too. But Ray is just an amazing guy. So I'm looking forward to that conversation on Thursday night for sure.
Yeah, I am too. I'm really excited about having Ray on the show. And again, it's this Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Sowing Hope podcast. And it's available at Patchwork Heart Ministry YouTube channel, as well as on Podbean and TuneIn apps.
Yep.
So be sure to do that. I have to mention too, Bill, you enlightened me about this other new platform called GIFcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's spelled GIFcast, and it's gifcast.com. It's sort of like, the best way to describe it is kind of like an audio Twitter. So I know that I'm on there now under Ann DeSantis, and you're under Patchwork Heart Ministry, I believe.
Yes. So,
hey, if you want to get on a new platform, look up GIFcast. Again, GIFcast.
Yeah, that was so cool. One of the creators of GIFcast reached out to me via email and said, "We heard this podcast and we would love it if you would join GIFcast." And so I'm like, okay. But yeah, and so yeah, we did one yesterday. I did a GIFcast yesterday. It's like a short thing. Nothing is longer than 15 minutes. That's the maximum they allow you to talk. So this show could not be rebroadcast on GIFcast, but that's okay. So you can just kind of be a stream of consciousness as Twitter is. It can be thoughts during the day or throughout the week. I don't know exactly what we're going to do with it yet, but we'll do something with it as time allows, just to share our thoughts, maybe some briefer ministry updates during the week that we can't necessarily broadcast, do a full show on every week like this when we're when we're hosting guests and stuff like that on the show pretty regularly. It gets hard to be able to dedicate a full hour to discussing stuff, and we don't need to.
Yes.
We don't need to either, but maybe that's what I'll use it for, is just to kind of have a forum to be able to say, hey, here's what's coming up this week, here's what's going on. So just think about following us over there. It's a relatively new platform, but super exciting to have that opportunity to join that platform. So GIFcast.com. There is not an app currently, so you actually have to go to the website, but hopefully they'll develop. If you're going to remain relevant in the world, I'm sure there'll be an app pretty soon. So.
Oh yeah, probably in another week.
Yeah, I know, right?
This show has been awesome, and I think we're going to do this again, a ministry update. So I want to just thank all of you for joining us on this hour, and remind you to come back again and listen on Thursday night at 6. And of course, we'll be here again next Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Well, Ann, thank you so much for being here with me today and discussing all this stuff. It's always so much fun to talk to you, whether it's on the air or off. It's so much fun.
That's right. Thank you, Bill. And God bless everyone.
Yes, folks. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. Head over to our websites, patchworkheart.org and desantis.com, nonatus.org, fiatministrynetwork.tv. Check out more and more and subscribe to the Patreon. If you have the means to support us, it would be wonderful. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Sowing Hope. Keep beating to your Catholic heart and sowing hope into broken hearts. Thanks for listening to this episode of Sowing Hope on Patchwork Heart Radio. For more information about this podcast and our ministries, visit our websites, patchworkheart.org and anndesantis.com. You can also follow and interact with us on Twitter at PWH Ministry or Ann DeSantis 2.